So we begin this flight around midday. We are in the middle of summer here in the southern hemisphere, so with hot temperatures and high elevation, it meant our climb performance is going to be very poor and our altitude maintenance is going to be quite unstable. We were dancing between plus or minus 100 feet at our cruising altitude. We are in a Piper Archer for today's IFR flight, and this is going to be important to remember later on in the video. Now we're setting up our GNS 430 and our VOR frequencies in preparation for departure. How so? By dialing in the flight plan and by tuning in the VOR frequency for our destination airport, which is Lanseria. This will help us read how far away we are in relation to the airport.
Zulu is ready to copy IFR clearance.
Zulu, flight departure on a Q4 right and to position U-truck, climbing to 8,000 feet, passing 7,000 feet. Radar 124.5 and the score 3516.
Runway 24 in use after departure, right turn direct to Utrecht, climbing to 8,000 feet. After passing 7,000 feet, contact radar 124.5, squawking 3516, Papa India Zulu.
3516 on the squawk.
Affirm, 3516 on the squawk.
We got correct, Papa India Zulu, ready for departure next.
Roger, Papa India Zulu.
Oh, we are ready, so you can call that.
And Papa India Zulu is ready for departure.
India Zulu, move forward to the holding point and tower 118.35.
Forward to the holding point and tower 118.35, Papa India Zulu.
So it's a good idea to factor in contingency fuel for long waiting times while we're waiting for departure at the holding point. We had to wait around 15 minutes or so before we were allowed to depart.
Line up await runway 24, Papa India Zulu. Okay, final approaches. Final 24, number 1, zing above. Down the runway is...
Space call back in the next 3 minutes. I've got IFR on and lights out. Can you hold on 240 180 degrees 6 knots? Take off Atlantis, 8,000 feet, report through 7,000 feet.
Runway 24, clear for takeoff, climb to 8,000 feet, report passing 7,000 feet. Papa India Zulu. Oh, that was the most painful wait for a departure I've ever had.
Yep, airspeed alive. Haze in the green. Up here, satisfactory. 65. 60. 65. It's a very hot day though.
It is.
Oh, the nose.
Go ahead. Currently 5,605, decreasing and joining galaxy 150 on board.
Our route follows that of an RNAV reporting point, which is Utrecht, and then to be radar vectored onto the ILS approach at runway 07 at Lanseria. Looking at our Sky Demon track, you will notice that Johannesburg radar pretty much vectored us onto a downwind leg on the ILS approach. Now we come to the crux of the video, where for you and I hope is a valuable lesson on vectors to final.
Your parcel, our passion. Join me. And Papa India Zulu, maintain setting 200 with cross radio 255. Lima India Victor, turn left, heading 060, intercept localizer on radio 7, report established please.
Right hand is heading until radial 255. Thereafter will be left hand turn to intercept the localizer for runway 07 and Syria. Papa India Zulu.
It is at this point that I experienced absolute saturation, and with hindsight, these are the reasons why. This was my first ILS approach in actual aircraft versus the simulator. I moved from one aircraft type to another, which meant changing of procedure. I am inexperienced at vectors to ILS approach and more experienced at VOR holds to ILS approaches. And in terms of the I am safe mnemonic, it's deep in the afternoon, it's hot, and for me, my optimum energy levels are in the morning or in the evening. The combination of the above led to the following. I disregarded my airspeed, I disregarded my callouts, I disregarded my final approach checks. All in all, I just became fixated on the course deviation indicator, the CDI. And actually, add to that, I disregarded my final approach checks, also known as the downwind checks. Remember when I said earlier on in the video that we are in a Piper Archer? And it's important to remember this because while we are on final approach, we did not want to waste time for high performance traffic that are lining up behind us. So we elected to do a flapless approach, and in doing so we needed to keep the speed high. But because we needed to keep the speed high, I actually kept the speed way too high.
We are 2 crew on board and 3.5 hours on the fuel. Copy, India Zulu. Alrighty, when we're about passing Lima Alpha 1 Foxtrot 1, so 6.9 DME Lima Alpha India, that's where we then going to do before landing checks. After that, we can make a flapless landing, seeing as though we're approaching nice and quickly. Ground speed of 130. Alright, there's 6.9 DME, that's Lima Alpha 1 Foxtrot 1. Copy, India Zulu passing Lima Alpha 1 Foxtrot 1. That's 6,700, very nice.
Papa India Zulu, cleared touch and go, runway 07, surfacing variable, that's less than 6 knots. After touch and go, so left turn, go to west of Pelindaba for the boat.
Runway 07, clear for the touch and go. After departure will be a left-hand turn report. Outbound west of Pelindaba, back to Monaco, Copy, New Zealand.
Papa India Zulu, and cancelling all flight status 11551 and 5,500 feet outbound.
5,500 feet outbound, and copy the cancellation of my IFR, Copy, New Zealand. Okay, check the localizer. Check that localizer. Watch your airspeed. Yeah, I don't want to dive and drop. I want this to be controlled. Okay, look at that localizer needle. Yep. Don't follow that DI anymore. So localizer, that's very important. Okay, don't make these massive interceptions either, because the needle gets more sensitive the closer you get to the airport. Alright, aim to maintain about 110 miles per hour on the way down, and then once we get close, then we can start to slow down, touch down at about 85 to 90. Roger that. Come up to 5450. Okay, good stuff. Keep on going.
Let's go now, good day, from the left of Foxtrot.
Foxtrot of Qatar, Lanseria target.
Foxtrot is currently 3 nautical miles west of Bloom Papa station at 6,000 feet.
Okay, remember we also need to make our course. 1,000 feet AGL, stable 3 green, 645, copy, hold, continue the approach. Okay, don't forget to make your call out.
And altitude, Kenneth 102, can I report left base at 6,000 feet, Foxtrot Qatar.
Okay, check that glide slope. Alright, there's 5,000 feet, so this would be for our most approach climb gradient of 3.5%, 500 feet AGL. Take a look outside.
Good afternoon.
Okay, start to slow down.
We are standing by at Alpha 4, ready for takeoff and cruise.
Great music.
So lots of valuable lessons during this flight. Do your downwind checks early. Remember not to be fixated on one instrument. Keep up the scan. Scanning will lead to a more stable approach and small corrections all around. But best of all, now that I've actually done the flight, I have better foresight to know what to expect in the future, and I should perform better. Thanks everybody for watching. If you enjoy these videos, please subscribe to the channel and give the video a like. The more people like the video, the more exposure it's given to those who need it or enjoy watching this type of content. Thanks. I will see you next time.